I'm Mr. Midnight Hollow, your terrifying host, and you're about to experience a nightmare come to life in today's chilling episode. Tonight I bring you a blood-soaked tale of a werewolf stalking the mountains near Seattle, a creature that learned to speak human words, and the desperate hunt that followed its reign of terror through moonlit forests. If you're already part of our community, your support means the world to us. Each like, comment, and share helps uncover more stories like this, or subscribe to see what rises from the depths of darkness and unfolds before you. Now, let's begin. My name is Derek Hoffman. I work as a forest ranger in the Cascade Mountains outside Seattle, Washington. I have been doing this job for 12 years, and I thought I had seen everything these mountains could throw at me. Black bears tearing through campsites, mountain lions stalking deer, even a bull moose that nearly destroyed my truck. But nothing prepared me for what started that October morning. It was a Tuesday when the radio crackled with a panicked voice. A young man named Marcus Chen was calling from Marble Creek Trail, 4 miles in from the trailhead. His girlfriend was dead. Something had killed her near the creek bed. Blood everywhere, he said. So much blood. I assembled a team immediately. Sheriff Tom Briggs, Deputy Lisa Martinez, and 2 other rangers. We reached Marcus 40 minutes into the hike. He sat on a fallen log covered in mud and blood, eyes wide and empty. He pointed downstream toward a cluster of pine trees. That was where we found Sarah Mitchell. Her body had been torn apart, throat ripped out completely, spine visible. Deep claw marks ran down her torso. Both arms had been dislocated with brutal force. One arm was missing entirely, found 15 feet away between 2 rocks. This was not a normal animal attack. The claw marks were wrong. Too deep, spaced too far apart. A bear would have eaten more of the body. This looked like it had been killed and abandoned. We found tracks near the creek. Enormous prints, nearly 12 inches long and 8 inches wide, far larger than any bear I had ever seen. But the stride length suggested the animal had been moving on 2 legs, not 4. Deep gouges ran down a nearby cedar tree, starting about 7 feet up. Whatever made those marks had reached higher than any black bear could manage, even standing on its hind legs. We secured the scene and got Marcus Chen back to the trailhead. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about those tracks, about the way Sarah's body had been destroyed. Around midnight, Sheriff Briggs called. We had another attack, a campsite 6 miles north, family of 4. The parents were dead. 2 kids, ages 8 and 10, were missing. The campsite was a massacre. The tent had been shredded from the outside. Gordon Hayes had his chest caved in, ribs jutting through skin. Patricia Hayes was inside the tent with her face clawed off, skull exposed. Blood pooled everywhere, splattered across trees, dripping from torn fabric. But the children, Emma and Caleb Hayes, were simply gone. The tracks led away from the campsite into the deep forest. We tried to follow, but lost the trail after half a mile. By dawn, we had search teams with dogs combing the area. I knew we would not find those kids alive. A local hunter named Ray Dalton approached me that morning. He was in his 60s, had been hunting these mountains his whole life. He told me about strange things happening. Animals running in panic during the day. A doe killed but not eaten, just torn apart. Tracks that changed from 4 legs to 2 legs and back again. Last full moon, about 2 weeks ago, I heard something up in the high country, Ray said. It was howling, but not like any wolf. It sounded almost human. Before I could respond, someone shouted from the tree line. They found a piece of fabric from a child's pajamas, covered in blood. Small footprints in the mud, bare feet, child-sized, running. Then the footprints just stopped. No more tracks, no blood trail. just gone. I looked up at the thick canopy of branches above us. Something could move through those trees if it was strong enough, agile enough. It had taken them up into the trees. That evening, Sheriff Briggs called an emergency meeting. We were closing all trails in the Cascade Range. No camping, no hiking, no access until further notice. Sunset curfew for towns near the forest boundary. Everyone indoors by dark. 3 confirmed dead. 2 missing, presumed dead. The numbers seemed too small to convey the horror of what we had seen. Back at the ranger station, I went through old records in the basement. I found something from 1967, a series of attacks over 3 weeks in late October and early November. 4 people killed, all torn apart. Massive claw marks, impossibly large tracks, a creature that hunted humans specifically. The attacks stopped suddenly. Official conclusion, rogue bear, though no bear was ever found or killed. A handwritten note in the margin read, "Moon cycle, ended when moon changed. Pray it doesn't come back." I checked the calendar on my phone. The next full moon was in 5 days. My radio exploded with calls. Another attack. Logging crew 3 miles east of Copper Falls. 2 dead, 1 badly injured. They said something came at them from the trees in broad daylight. I reached the logging site as the ambulance was pulling away. 2 bodies still on the ground under tarps. A surviving logger named Carl Winters sat on a truck bed, pale and shaking. He told me what happened. They were cutting timber around 3 p.m. when something dropped from the trees and landed in the middle of them. Massive. Had to be 8 feet tall, covered in dark fur. It moved impossibly fast. It grabbed one man around the chest, and Carl heard ribs crack from where he stood. Then it turned on another worker. It was standing upright, like a person, Carl said. But the head was wrong. Long snout, full of teeth, yellow eyes, and the sounds it made. There were words in it. Like it was trying to talk, and then it laughed when it killed Mike. The creature had gone back up into the trees, dragging a body with it. We found blood on branches 30 feet off the ground. When we climbed up with ropes, there was no body, just blood and claw marks gouged into the wood. That night, Briggs organized an armed patrol. 12 men with rifles, experienced hunters and law enforcement. We were going to find this thing and kill it. As we gathered at the trailhead, I looked up at the darkening sky. The moon was rising, not quite full yet, but close. Somewhere in the distance, deep in the forest, something howled. The sound started low like a wolf, then changed, becoming deeper, more resonant, making my skin crawl. It sounded hungry. It sounded angry. And beneath it all, it sounded human. We moved into the forest in 2 groups of 6. Sheriff Briggs led one team north, while I led the other east. We kept radio contact every 10 minutes, sweeping the area in a grid pattern, looking for tracks, blood, anything. The sun had set an hour ago. We used high-powered flashlights to cut through darkness. My team consisted of Deputy Martinez, 2 hunters named Frank Morrison and Craig Bennett, and 2 search and rescue volunteers, Kevin Pratt and Michelle Chavez. All armed, all briefed. We had been hiking 30 minutes when Frank stopped suddenly, holding up his hand. Everyone froze. Branches breaking, something large moving through underbrush about 50 yards left. I raised my rifle, safety off. Spread out, stay in visual contact, don't shoot unless you're certain of your target. We moved slowly toward the sound. Flashlight beams swept across trees, rocks, fallen logs. The sounds continued, staying ahead of us, always out of sight. Whatever was making those sounds wasn't running away. It was leading us somewhere. "Stop!" I ordered. "Everyone stop!" The moment we stopped, The forest went silent. Complete silence. Even the wind died away. Then, from directly above, something laughed. Not human, not animal. Something caught between the two, a wet rasping sound. We turned our flashlights upward. For just a moment I saw yellow eyes reflecting our light, a shape too large, too wrong. Then it moved, leaping from tree to tree with impossible speed, and the eyes vanished. Something hit Craig from behind. He went down hard, rifle flying. I spun around, bringing my weapon up, but it was too late. Craig was being dragged backward into darkness, hands clawing at ground, mouth open in a scream cut short with a sickening crunch. "Open fire!" We shot into the darkness. Muzzle flashes lit up the forest in stuttering bursts. I saw movement, something large and dark, but could not get a clear shot. Then it was gone. We rushed forward. Found Craig 20 feet away, neck broken, twisted at an impossible angle. Chest caved in, sternum crushed. Still breathing, shallow gasps bubbling with blood. "Craig!" Frank dropped beside him. "Hang on!" I grabbed my radio. "Briggs, man down, east sector, need emergency medical now." Craig's eyes found mine. He was trying to say something, blood running from his mouth. I leaned closer. "Run," he whispered. "It's coming back." He died. The forest erupted, trees shaking, branches snapping, that awful laugh coming from multiple directions. It was circling us, moving too fast, staying beyond our lights. "Back to back! Form a circle." We pulled into tight defensive formation, everyone facing out, rifles ready. Martinez was praying under her breath in Spanish. The attack came from above. It dropped into the center of our circle. For the first time, I got a good look. It stood on two legs, almost 8 feet tall. Dark fur covered its body, thick and matted. The head was elongated like a wolf, but too large, mouth full of endless teeth. Arms too long, hanging past its knees, ending in 5-fingered hands tipped with curved claw knives. Yellow eyes burning with terrible intelligence. It was smiling. Actually smiling. Lips pulled back showing even more teeth. Michelle screamed and fired. We all did. Bullets tore into its chest and shoulders. It roared, a sound that vibrated through my bones. But it did not go down. It lunged at Michelle, caught her by the throat. Her neck snapped. Then it threw her body at Frank, knocking him down. Kevin tried to run, made it 5 steps before the creature caught him. One massive hand grabbed his head and twisted. Over. Fall back to the trail. Martinez and I retreated, firing as we moved. Frank struggled for his rifle. The creature turned toward him and batted his reaching hand away lazily, like a cat with a mouse. "Frank, move!" He grabbed his rifle and ran toward us. The creature watched him go, that terrible smile still there. Then it dropped to all fours and charged. On 4 legs, it moved even faster. It caught Frank in 3 seconds, leaping onto his back, riding him to the ground. Frank's screams cut short. Wet tearing sound. Silence. Martinez and I ran. We abandoned fighting. Just ran, crashing through underbrush, branches whipping our faces, flashlights bouncing. Behind us, it followed. Not running, just loping along easily. We burst onto the main trail and saw lights. Briggs and his team running toward us. "Get down!" We hit the dirt. The entire team opened fire over our heads, a wall of bullets screaming into the forest. The creature roared, pain in the sound this time. Then gunfire stopped. Only silence. We waited, barely breathing. Minutes passed. Nothing moved. Slowly we stood. Briggs helped me up, face grim. "What happened?" "It killed them. Craig, Michelle, Kevin, Frank, all of them." "Where is it?" "I don't know. It was right behind us." We searched for tracks, blood, anything. Found tracks leading away and blood. Not much, but enough to show we had hit it. The blood was dark, almost black, with a strange smell. Metallic, but with something else underneath. Something wrong. We heard it, Briggs said. It can be hurt. That means it can be killed. We followed the blood trail 100 yards before it disappeared. Just stopped at a rocky outcrop. Nowhere else to go. It went up, Ray Dalton said, pointing at the cliff face. Climb straight up. The sun was setting. We were out of time. Back at the trailhead, news crews were setting up. State police cars, ambulances, media vans crowded together. Briggs was pulled aside by superiors. I stood alone, rifle in hand, hands shaking. A reporter approached. Ranger Hoffman, what happened? I looked at her. Young, eager for a story. She had no idea. No comment, I said, and walked away. 4 more dead. 4 more families getting terrible phone calls, and we were no closer to stopping this thing. That night I searched online. Werewolf legends, shapeshifters, cryptids. Most was obvious fiction, but there were patterns. Sightings during full moons, creatures incredibly strong, fast, resistant to injury, preferred hunting humans, seemed to take pleasure in killing. I checked the calendar. 3 days until full moon. My phone rang. Briggs. We've got a problem. We went back for the bodies. They're gone. All of them. What? I mean, they're not there. Blood, shell casings, torn clothing. But no bodies. That thing came back and took them. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Stop hunting it. You'll only make it angry. I called back, rang once, went to voicemail. I texted, "Who is this?" No response. I sat at my kitchen table all night, rifle within reach, jumping at every sound. Hours crawled until sun started rising. Radio crackled at 6 a.m. Hikers found a body near Raven Ridge. Female, approximately 25. Another attack. Her name was Jennifer Russo, killed during the night. Similar attack pattern, but something different this time. The body had been arranged, positioned deliberately, arms spread, legs together. A message written in blood on rock. Mine now human. Briggs stared at the words. It's intelligent. It can think. Plan. It's hunting us specifically. Why? I don't know. But it wants us to know we can't stop it. The governor was getting involved, talking about National Guard. But I knew soldiers with rifles would just be more victims. This thing had taken out experienced hunters and armed law enforcement easily. What chance did soldiers have? Late afternoon, I got a visitor. An old man. Had to be 80, walking with a cane. He introduced himself as William Redhawk from the Snoqualmie tribe. You've seen it. The creature, he said. Yes. He nodded. My grandfather told me stories. About the skinwalker, the one who wears both shapes. One lived in these mountains long ago. The tribes avoided certain areas, left offerings. An agreement. We leave it alone. It leaves us alone. That's just legend. Is it? Then what did you see in the forest? I had no answer. The stories say it can only be killed during the full moon, when it's strongest but also most vulnerable. Silver doesn't work, that's white man's fiction, but fire does. It fears fire above all else. Why tell me this? Because you'll hunt it again, and you'll need every advantage. The full moon is in 2 days. That's when it will be most active, most hungry. But that's also when you can end this. He left before I could ask more. That night, I called an emergency meeting with Briggs and his core team. I told them what Redhawk said. You realize how crazy that sounds, Briggs said. I know, but traditional methods aren't working. Maybe it's time to try something unconventional. You want to hunt it with fire? Flamethrowers, military grade. State police have them for wildfire suppression. We get a team together, best people, and go in during full moon. Find its den, burn it out. Martinez shook her head. That's insane. We'll start a forest fire. I'd rather risk that than let this thing kill anyone else. They argued for an hour, but eventually agreed. We had 48 hours to prepare. Track the creature to its lair, wait for full moon, then end this. I spent the next day gathering equipment and recruiting volunteers. 3 state police officers, 2 fire department specialists trained with flamethrowers, and Ray Dalton. We brought tracking dogs, the best in the state. Full moon morning, we assembled at the ranger station. Heavy protective gear, rifles, flares, 2 military flamethrowers. Plan: start from the most recent attack, work backward, follow any trail. Dogs picked up a scent immediately. Faint but consistent, leading north into deep old-growth forest. We followed for hours, moving slowly, everyone alert. Around 3 p.m. dogs started acting strange, whining, pulling backward, refusing to go forward. Their handler, State Trooper Davidson, looked worried. They're scared. Never seen them act like this. We keep going, I said. We're close. We moved forward on foot, leaving dogs with Davidson. The forest here was ancient, trees so massive 3 people couldn't encircle them. Little sunlight penetrated, leaving ground covered in moss and ferns. Beautiful and eerie. Then we found it. The den. A cave hidden behind a fallen redwood. Entrance narrow, barely wide enough for a person, opening into a larger chamber inside. The smell was overwhelming. Death and rot and something animal and wrong. We need to see inside, Briggs said. Ray stepped forward with a flashlight, shining into the cave entrance. We crowded around to see. The chamber was littered with bones. Human bones. Dozens, maybe more, scattered across the cave floor. Some old, bleached white. Others fresh with scraps of flesh and clothing. I recognized fabric from Emma Hayes' pajamas, but what made my stomach turn was how the bones were arranged. Sorted, organized, skulls in one pile, leg bones in another, ribs stacked against the wall. Not just a feeding ground, a trophy collection. A sound came from deep within, low rumble, almost a purr, but malevolent. We stepped back, raising weapons. It's inside, Ray said quietly. Been here the whole time, listening. The rumble grew louder. Movement. Something large shifting in darkness. Yellow eyes appeared in the depths, reflecting our flashlight. Light it up, Briggs ordered. Now! Flamethrower operators moved forward and opened fire. Twin jets of flame shot into the cave, turning darkness into roaring inferno. Heat pushed us backward. Yellow eyes vanished. We heard a roar of pain and rage. Then the creature burst from the cave. It came through the flames, first smoking and burning, but still moving, still alive. Even more terrifying in daylight. Muscles rippling under burned skin, yellow eyes locked on us with pure hatred. We opened fire. Every rifle, every handgun, emptying magazines. Blood sprayed, black and thick. It staggered but didn't fall. Instead it charged, moving on all fours, jaws open wide. I could see down its throat, see rows of teeth going back and back. State Trooper Henderson stood his ground, firing until the creature was almost on him. Then he threw himself aside at the last moment. The creature's jaws snapped on empty air, crashing into a tree. Impact so hard the tree shook, raining needles and broken branches. It turned, looking for Henderson. Ray Dalton stepped forward with his hunting rifle. Fired once, perfect shot taking the creature in the left eye. It screamed, sound echoing through the entire forest, then ran. Not away from us but past us, heading deeper into mountains. "Follow it!" Briggs shouted. We gave chase, but it was like catching wind. Even injured, even burned, it moved with incredible speed. We tracked it for an hour, following blood trail, broken branches, deep gouges where claws dug in. Eventually, we lost it. Trail ended at a rocky outcrop. Nowhere to go. It went up, Ray said, pointing at cliff face. Climbed straight up and disappeared. Sun was setting. Full moon would be rising soon. We were out of time. We need to fall back. Regroup. But I knew we were running out of options. We had hit it with everything, and it still got away. As we made our way back, the moon began rising, huge and orange, dominating the sky. Somewhere in the mountains behind us, the creature howled. Sound went on, rising and falling, filled with pain and rage. It was wounded, but not dead. And now, more than ever, it would want revenge. We regrouped at the ranger station as darkness fell completely. The full moon hung huge in the sky, casting everything in silver light. Everyone was exhausted, running on adrenaline and fear. Briggs was on the phone with state officials, explaining what happened. I could hear the frustration in his voice. They wanted results. They wanted this thing dead. So did we, but wanting and doing were two different things. Martinez sat cleaning her rifle, hands still shaking. Ray Dalton stood by the window, staring out at the moonlit forest. The fire department specialists were checking their flamethrowers, making sure they were fully loaded for another attempt. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Ranger Hoffman. The voice on the other end was male, middle-aged, with an accent I couldn't place. You should have listened when I told you to stop hunting it. Who is this? Someone who knows what you're dealing with. That creature you wounded? It's going to come for you now. For all of you. The full moon makes it stronger, more aggressive. And you've heard it, made it angry. It won't stop until everyone in your hunting party is dead. How do you know this? Because I've seen it before. 20 years ago, different mountains, different state, same creature, or one like it. We tried to kill it too. Lost 18 men before we finally drove it away. Fire helped, but it wasn't enough. You need to understand what you're facing. Then tell me, what is it? The old tribes had many names. Skinwalker, shapeshifter, wolf demon. Modern people try to rationalize it, call it a hybrid or a mutation. But the truth is simpler and more terrifying. It's something that shouldn't exist but does. Something that was here long before us and will be here long after. You can't kill it with bullets alone. You can't burn it completely. The only way to stop it is to trap it, contain it, until the full moon passes and it becomes vulnerable again. How do we trap it? You don't. It's too smart, too fast. Your only option now is to survive the night. Get everyone indoors, behind locked doors, with fire nearby. It will hunt until dawn. But when the sun rises, it will retreat to heal. That's your window. That's when you can find it and end this. Wait. The line went dead. I stood there holding the phone, mind racing. Everything the man said matched what we had seen. The intelligence, the aggression, the resistance to injury. If he was right about the rest, we were in serious danger. Everyone listen, I said, raising my voice. The room went quiet. We need to lock down this station. Board the windows, barricade the doors. Nobody goes outside until sunrise. We waited out. Wait out what? One of the state troopers asked. Before I could answer, we heard it. That howl, much closer now. Right outside the station perimeter. It had followed us back. Move! Now! We scrambled into action. Ray and I started dragging furniture against the doors. Martinez and the troopers took positions at windows, rifles ready. The fire specialists kept their flamethrowers aimed at the entrance. The howling stopped. Silence fell, which was somehow worse. We waited, barely breathing, listening for any sound. Then something hit the roof, hard. The entire building shook. We heard footsteps up there, heavy and deliberate, moving from one end to the other. Claws scratched against metal roofing, a sound that set my teeth on edge. "It's on the roof," Martinez whispered. The footsteps stopped directly above us. Silence again. Then, impossibly, we heard it speak. The words were twisted, forced through a throat not designed for human speech, but they were unmistakable. "I smell you." Everyone's blood ran cold. It could talk. This thing that had killed so many, torn them apart like paper, it could actually talk. "Come out. Come play." Then it laughed, that awful rasping sound we had heard in the forest. The roof groaned under its weight as it moved again. We heard it at the back of the building now, testing the door, pushing against it. The barricade held, but barely. "Light up the door," Briggs ordered. The flamethrower operators aimed at the back entrance. When the door started to splinter, they fired. Flames filled the doorway, creating a wall of fire. We heard a roar of pain and anger, and the pressure on the door stopped. For several minutes, nothing. Then we heard breaking glass from the second floor. It was trying the upstairs windows. "2 men upstairs," Briggs shouted. "Now!" 2 state troopers ran up the stairs, rifles raised. We heard them moving around up there, checking rooms. Then gunfire erupted. 3 shots, 4, 5, then screaming. One of the troopers came crashing down the stairs, face torn open, blood pouring down his chest. He collapsed at the bottom, not moving. The second trooper appeared at the top of the stairs, backing away from something. "It's inside! It's inside!" The creature appeared behind him. In the confined space of the stairwell, it looked even more massive. It grabbed the trooper from behind, lifted him like he weighed nothing, and threw him over the railing. He hit the ground floor hard, neck twisted at a wrong angle. Then the creature started down the stairs. It moved slowly, deliberately, those yellow eyes scanning all of us. It was taking its time, enjoying our fear. "Fire!" Briggs screamed. We all opened fire at once. The stairwell became a storm of bullets. The creature roared and retreated back upstairs, but we could hear it moving around up there, breaking through walls, tearing apart rooms. "We can't stay here," Ray said. "This building won't hold it." "Where can we go?" Martinez asked. "It's faster than us, stronger than us." "The fire tower," I said suddenly. "The old Ranger fire tower, half a mile east. Steel construction, elevated only one way up. We can defend it better than here." We'll never make it half a mile," one of the fire specialists said. "We will if we create a distraction. Use the flamethrowers to set a perimeter fire. Force it to go around. That gives us a head start." It was insane, but it was our only option. We gathered what gear we could carry, mostly weapons and ammunition. The fire specialists positioned themselves at the front door. "On 3, Briggs said. 1, 2, 3. They kicked the door open and unleashed both flamethrowers, creating a wide arc of fire across the front of the station. The flames lit up the night like day. We ran. Half a mile through moonlit forest, the fire tower our only hope. Behind us, we heard the creature roar with rage. It was coming. We ran through the forest like our lives depended on it, because they did. The fire tower appeared ahead, a skeletal steel structure rising 60 feet into the air. The stairs were narrow, switchbacking up to the observation cabin at the top. "Go! Go!" I shouted. We hit the stairs running. Ray went first, then Martinez, then the others. I stayed at the bottom with one of the fire specialists covering our retreat. The creature burst from the tree line seconds later, moving on all fours, covering ground impossibly fast. "Now!" I yelled. The fire specialist opened up with the flamethrower. A jet of flame shot out, catching the creature mid-stride. It shrieked and veered away, circling around us, looking for an opening. I fired my rifle, aiming for its head, but it moved too erratically. The fire specialist kept his flamethrower trained on it, creating a barrier of flame between us and the creature. We backed up the stairs slowly, step by step. The creature paced at the base of the tower, growling, those yellow eyes locked on us. We were halfway up when the flamethrower sputtered and died. Out of fuel. "Climb!" I screamed. We scrambled up the remaining stairs as the creature charged. It hit the tower with such force that the entire structure shook. Then it started climbing. On 4 legs, using claws like grappling hooks, it pulled itself up the steel framework. Not coming up the stairs, but straight up the outside of the tower, impossibly fast. We reached the cabin and piled inside. It was small, maybe 12 feet square, designed for one ranger to watch for forest fires. Now it held 7 of us, all armed, all terrified. Ray slammed the door, and we dragged a desk against it. Windows on all 4 sides gave us a view of the surrounding forest and of the creature climbing toward us. "Spread out, cover all sides," Briggs ordered. We took positions at the windows. I watched the creature pull itself up the last section of framework. When it reached the level of our cabin, it stopped and looked directly at me through the window. Up close, in the moonlight, I could see details I had missed before. The fur was matted with blood, both its own and its victims. Burns covered its shoulders and back from the flamethrower attacks. One eye was ruined, leaking fluid down its cheek where Ray's bullet had struck. But the other eye blazed with intelligence and rage. It spoke again, words clearer now, like it was learning. "You hurt me. Now I hurt you." Then it punched through the window. Glass exploded inward. That massive clawed hand reached in, swiping at anything within range. Martinez fired point blank into its arm. Blood sprayed, but the arm didn't pull back. Instead, the creature gripped the window frame and started pulling itself inside. We all fired at once. The cabin became deafening, muzzle flashes lighting up the small space like a strobe light. Bullets tore into the creature's head, neck, and chest. It roared and pulled back, disappearing from the window. For a moment, silence. Then we heard it moving around the outside of the cabin, testing each window, each wall, looking for a weakness. "How much ammunition do we have left?" Briggs asked. We checked. Between all of us, maybe 200 rounds. The flamethrowers were both empty. We had flares, but they wouldn't do much against this thing. "We just need to last until dawn," I said, checking my watch. It was almost 4 a.m. Sunrise is in about 2 hours. If what that man on the phone said is true, it will retreat when the sun comes up. "And if he's wrong?" Martinez asked. "Then we die here." The creature hit the door. The entire frame buckled inward. It hit again and again, each impact shaking the whole cabin. The desk we had barricaded against it started to slide. "Reinforce that door!" Ray shouted. We piled everything we could find against it. Another desk, chairs, filing cabinets. The creature kept hitting it, relentless, tireless. With each impact, our barricade weakened. Then it stopped. Complete silence again. We waited, weapons trained on the door, expecting it to burst through any second. Instead, we heard scraping above us. It was on the roof, tearing through the metal panels. Claws pierced the ceiling, pulling away sheets of steel like they were paper. Moonlight poured in through the growing hole. "Shoot up!" Briggs yelled. We fired into the ceiling, trying to hit whatever was above us. The scraping stopped, then resumed on the other side of the roof, out of our angle of fire. The creature's head appeared through the hole, upside down, looking at us with that one good eye. It reached down with both arms, claws extended, trying to grab anyone within range. Ray raised his rifle and fired directly into its face. The bullet took it in the snout, and it pulled back with a howl of pain. But seconds later it was back, reaching down again, more aggressive now. We were trapped. It could tear the roof apart at its leisure, and there was nothing we could do to stop it. We fired upward until our rifles ran dry. Then, we were down to handguns. "Flares!" I shouted. "Use the flares!" Martinez grabbed a flare, struck it, and threw it up through the hole. It bounced off the creature's chest and fell back into the cabin, burning red and bright. The creature flinched away from the flame but didn't retreat. I struck 2 more flares and held them up toward the hole, waving them. The creature backed away, just out of reach, watching the fire with what looked like fear. But it didn't leave. Minutes dragged by in a stalemate. We held the flares up, creating a barrier of fire it wouldn't cross, but the flares wouldn't last forever. We had maybe 6 left, each one burning for about 15 minutes. Not enough to make it to dawn. I checked my watch. 4:30 a.m. Hour and a half until sunrise. We were out of ammunition, almost out of flares, and the creature was waiting above us like a patient predator. "When the flares run out, it's coming in," Ray said quietly. "We all know that." Nobody argued. We all knew he was right. The flare in my hand sputtered and started to die. I lit another one immediately, but we were down to 4 now, then 3, then 2. 5 a.m., 1 hour until sunrise. 1 flare left. "It's been an honor serving with you all," Briggs said. We stood there in that small cabin, battered and exhausted, waiting for the end. The last flare burned down to nothing. Darkness fell. Above us the creature stirred. It was coming. Then, from the east, a faint glow. The sky was lightening. Dawn was coming, just barely. But coming. The creature sensed it too. It made a sound, something between a growl and a whine, frustrated and angry. The scraping on the roof moved away. We heard it climbing down the tower framework, fast. I rushed to the window and saw it drop the last 20 feet to the ground. It landed on all 4s, then turned back to look up at us one more time. Even from this distance, I could feel the hatred in that gaze. Then it turned and ran into the forest, moving east, away from the rising sun. We stood there in stunned silence as the sky continued to lighten. We had survived. We waited 30 minutes after the creature disappeared before we dared to leave the fire tower. The sun was fully up now, golden light streaming through the trees. Everything looked different in daylight. Almost normal, almost safe. But we all knew better. "It's weak now," Ray said as we descended the tower stairs. "Wounded, burned, shot. Whatever supernatural strength it had during the full moon is gone. It's vulnerable." "How do you know?" Martinez asked. "Because that's how the stories go. The creature is strongest under the full moon, but when the sun rises, it becomes mortal again. It's still dangerous, still deadly, but it can be killed." We tracked it. The trail was easy to follow now. Blood smeared on trees, deep claw marks gouged in earth, broken branches marking its path. It was moving slowly, deliberately, heading toward higher elevation. After an hour, we found fresh blood, lots of it. The creature was bleeding out, its wounds finally taking their toll. "It's close," I whispered. We moved carefully now, weapons ready. The forest here was dense, undergrowth thick. Perfect ambush territory. But we had no choice. We had to end this now, while it was weak. Ray stopped and pointed. Ahead, partially hidden behind a massive boulder, was a dark shape. The creature, lying on its side, breathing hard. Even from 30 feet away, I could see the extent of its injuries. Burns covered most of its body. Bullet wounds leaked dark blood. The eye Ray had shot was gone completely, leaving an empty socket. It sensed us and tried to rise, but couldn't. Its strength was gone. We approached slowly, weapons trained on it. Those yellow eyes, or rather the one remaining yellow eye, tracked our movement. It tried to speak, to form words, but all that came out was a wet growl. "It's dying," Briggs said. "Good," Martinez replied, raising her rifle. But Ray held up a hand. "Wait." He stepped forward, moving closer to the creature than any of us dared. The creature watched him approach, that one eye filled with something that might have been fear. "You're old," Ray said quietly, speaking to it directly. "Very old, I can see it now, in daylight. How many years have you hunted these mountains? How many people have you killed? How many full moons?" The creature made a sound, low and pained. "It's time to end," Ray continued. "Time to rest." He raised his rifle, aimed carefully at the creature's head, and fired once. The shot echoed through the forest. The creature jerked once, then went still. The yellow eye faded, becoming glassy and empty. It was over. We stood there for a long moment, none of us quite believing it was really dead. Then Briggs moved forward and put 2 more bullets into its head, just to be sure. "Call it in," he said to Martinez. "Get wildlife services up here, and a medical examiner. They're going to want to see this." Over the next few hours, the forest filled with people, state police, FBI, scientists from the university, even military personnel. Everyone wanted to see the creature that had killed so many. They took measurements, photographs, tissue samples. It measured just over 8 feet tall when they stood it upright. Weight estimated at over 500 pounds, most of it muscle. The skull structure was wrong for any known animal, somewhere between human and wolf, but belonging to neither. Genetic testing would later show it was something entirely unknown to science, something that shouldn't exist, but did. The body count was finalized at 17 dead, including the 4 missing Hayes children, whose remains were found in the cave den. 17 lives destroyed by a creature from nightmares. In the weeks that followed, the story spread nationwide. The Cascade Killer, some media outlets called it. Others used werewolf despite official denials. Theories flew wild. Government experiment gone wrong. Mutation caused by pollution. Secret species that had survived in isolation for millennia. I didn't talk to reporters. Neither did anyone else from the hunting party. We knew what we had seen, what we had faced. That was enough. The forest reopened after 2 weeks. Hikers and campers returned, cautious but reassured that the threat was gone. Life slowly returned to normal. But sometimes, on nights when the moon is full, I stand at my window and look out at the mountains. And I wonder if Ray's question was right. How old was that creature? Was it the only one? Or are there others out there, hidden in deep forests and high mountains, waiting for the next full moon to hunt? I don't have answers. I'm not sure I want them. What I do know is this. There are things in this world that science can't explain, that logic can't rationalize. Things that lurk in the darkness between what we know and what we fear. And sometimes, very rarely, we encounter them. I survived such an encounter. 17 others didn't. I remember every one of their names. And I'll never forget the yellow eyes watching from the darkness, or the voice that learned to speak just enough to promise suffering. The beast is dead. I saw it die. But on full moon nights, I still lock my doors. I still keep weapons close. I still listen for sounds in the forest, because some fears, once earned, never truly leave you. Derek Hoffman's hunt in the Cascade Mountains is a chilling reminder that some nightmares walk among us under the full moon. The werewolf may be dead, but the question remains. Was it truly alone in those ancient forests? Like this video if you felt the terror stalking through those moonlit trees. Comment below what haunted you most. The creature's ability to speak, the brutal deaths, or the realization that legends can bleed. Share this story with someone who thinks monsters only exist in movies. And if you dare to venture deeper into the darkness, subscribe to Mr. Midnight Horror and ring that notification bell. Because when the next full moon rises, you'll want to know what's hunting in the shadows before it finds you.